finally found it. Finally found what I was looking for. That's only a joke for people who are inside my head, because I've been singing that song all afternoon. Go over to the third channel. Either way, just found plastic piece of cut thing there. So, oh, it didn't actually go anywhere. It's right here. So, if you don't know, there is a new Halo game coming. It should have been out already. However, they put it into more development hell. But that didn't stop them from making new figures. And it is from, what is the name of the thing? Jazzwares. So, this is the new Jazzwares Master Chief. And this is their Spartan collection. This is their, like, 6-inch thereabouts figure line, and a lot of this reminds me of the previous Master Chief I looked at a long time ago and that I customized. But that was the ones where you could swap armor out and stuff like that. This looks like just straight up whatever, and it is from the Halo Infinite game that is coming. The packaging, it's a little beat up, but it is what it is. I actually found this at Walmart. I originally started finding these figures at Target, so a random, not normally on my route, Walmart stop, I found this. Master Chief has been the hardest one to find because he's Chief. They also have Cat, Spartan Mark 7, and then I think that's a Spartan Mark 5B. So that's kind of cool. One thing I would love is if they give us a recon armor Spartan, because if you guys played Halo 3 and ODST and all that stuff, to get the Spartan armor or the recon armor, which we did, and I had two because I had two accounts, so I've got two different Spartan armors, one white, one brown. And then my friend also, because we did this as a group, my friends got it as well, so those worked it. So let's check this out. So Jazzwares, I know nothing about the company at all. I actually thought this was a McFarlane thing. It's very similar to their game packaging, stuff like that, like things from Doom and stuff like that. But as far as I know, it has nothing to do with them. I know nothing. Also, I get a cool new in-game code for something. And redeem at HaloWaypoint.com. Redeem. Game add-on requires Halo Infinite. You sold separately. So almost everything you buy related to the game comes with some type of game add-on thing. But unless you want to check, make sure you got that. They also have what is basically like a 4-inch figure line, which has the vehicles. So they had a Warthog with Master Chief at a decent price. I think it was like $25, which is what a 6-inch figure costs. And I don't have a Warthog, so I thought about getting that. But let's take a closer look. Oh, hey. At Chief. One of his hands got away from me there. So, right off the bat, they weathered it, and you can tell it's like digital paint because it's very equally applied. There is a lot of dry brushing, but no dirt and no wash. And then there's like a blast effect sort of thing right there. The only thing I really don't like about this is that it has a big 117 on its chest. And the only time that was a thing that happened was usually in the Halo movies that they showed that. So you knew they were looking at Master Chief. In the game, there's kind of no reason for you to not know your Chief. Also, it's a different Mjolnir armor. This is not his upgrade, which is really strange. Also, we have what I believe is the Magnum, and then the BR there. And what's funny is it looks very similar to the previous one I had. The molding looks very, very similar. It also has peg holes. So I'm wondering... Okay, so he has a peg on the back. Interesting. And then he comes with a variety of hands, just relaxed hands, fist. Not entirely certain what he's doing with that one. Another fist. Definitely two kind of gun-holding hands. So in theory, he can dual wield. And And one thing that's interesting about this is that he comes with a really shiny chrome visor, which is cool, but I actually liked the textured one that was painted on that previous figure that I had. Got some gunk. I can say with little to no irony that I will definitely be detailing and weathering this one in the future, down the line, because other than like some paint they did, he needs a good wash. He needs a good details, needs stuff picked out, and I feel like they didn't go far enough. But either way, let's take a closer look at this new chief. And of course, he's definitely going to go on the Halo, in the Halo Tolf down the line. Okay, Chief. Ugh. Time for your plastic birthing ceremony. So let's get that out. Oh, hey, that's actually strapped in. I already cut the ones off of his legs and stuff. I didn't see the gun had one. There we go. So, pull that out. Get the gun. Get the Hans Gruber. Get those on the floor. They definitely do give you a lot of hands. Alright. Time to prop out, Chief. Or deploy, as it were. Whoa. He's in space. Okay. So with that done, let's look at him close. Whoa. That is loosey-goosey. Hey, get out of there. Alright, so this is my first time ever with a Jazzwares figure. And I'll tell you right now, the plastics feel funny. I don't even know. Almost feels like there's an extra coating on there or something. Whoa, that is a ratcheted knee that is super loose. Okay, so let's start at the head and talk about that nice kind of chromish paint there. It's not great. It's okay though. You know, little details like the lights are sort of painted on. I say sort of. You got the little hoses here, textured and painted. And then, like I said, you got dry brushing everywhere, which is not great if I'm honest. A big Sharpie mark right there. And the AI chip slot there. Then no paint on his underneck. And then here on the back you have the peg for his weapons, which is definitely never seen. And you can just see the dry brushing everywhere. Like, it's just a constant layer of dry brushing. Even if it's not directly there, you can see it. It's just all... This is a good example of somebody who doesn't know what something that's weathered should look like, and they just dry brush the whole damn thing. Like, literally, every inch of him is dry brushed. Like, that's excessive in my mind. Okay, so one thing I could see. What does that do? So that's a slot for reasons. See, I would think like that would be like where the gun could post or something. But no. Because there's a peg there, or there's a hole. Like you should be able to peg that in. Oh, I dumb. Interesting. Okay, so I just discovered this. Once again, there's like no instructions or anything, so maybe this is how this is supposed to go. Or maybe I'm just making crap up. But that's, I mean, he basically does have the gun mounted to the side like that. I mean, you guys tell me, is that the way it's supposed to go? Because it seems pretty purposeful. Doesn't work, really, but it seems purposeful. Like, I would think that if you... See, the problem is the top is sloped, but the bottom is not. And that's problematic. See, like, it doesn't fit really well. That's why I feel like that's what it should do, because Chief always has weapons on him, so maybe that is what it's for, and I'm just dumb. I don't think there was any instructions in the packaging at all, but it is what it is. Okay, so just experimenting. So let's continue. So we got some gray stuff going on here. We got black and gray stuff happening in there. Like I said, too much dry brushing. What do we got here? Single ball joint for upper torso movement is what it is. Neck is disc hinge with a little bit of a ball joint. Doesn't rotate at the base. Arms. So there's a little bit of a butterfly here. Then disc hinge shoulder with the big shoulder pad molded in here. So it just kind of flexes. It's all one piece though. Or it's glued, either way. That's a recipe for things to break off at some point. Just give it a basic hinge if you're going to do anything. You got bicep rotation. You've got double jointed elbow, but only the bottom joint is working. Look at this. There's no friction there at all. That's nothing. What's this top elbow going to do? No, a little bit of friction there. So top chunk of the elbow is doing it. And sculpt is... alright, it's okay. Could be better. What has he got for hands on here? So we got a pointing hand, possibly a gun holding hand, and another pointing or possibly gun holding hand. Sorry, my eye itches. I would have been okay without double jointed elbows. Does he have anything going on at the hips? Tiny bit of rotation, but not really. Like, that's just solid there. Okay, so you can do a really good John Claude. And damn, they even got dry brushing on the inside of the thighs. That's a little much. Let's see, he can kick really far forward. By the way, it's very chunky. Okay, so very ratcheted knee. Look at that, the under thing is barely dry brushed, so that means they dry brush it while it's stationary. That's interesting. And by the way, it looks like a person did this, not a machine. So that's one thing. Look at that, you can get a real hefty knee bend there. And I mean that because it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, and super loose ankle swivel. Not a ton of ankle movement. And you got toe pivot here, which is really ugly sculpt. Look at this. Look at the way that works. Feet are big and chunky, so let's try brushing down here on the feet. So the toe, oh no, negative toe point. You've got toe point up and toe point down. That's bad. That's real bad. The reason I say that's bad is because that means his feet are not going to be the things that hold him up, because he will easily... Didn't even have to get the sentence out completely. There's not enough friction in those toes to keep him upward. And by the way, this is like the older Mjolnir armor. This is not like, I don't even think this is like the last generation. Of course, I don't know. And once again, it bothers me they put 117 on there. We know it's Master Chief, okay? And then these tampo scratches look like ass, if I'm honest. But that's enough of Chief himself. Let's look at his accessories. So we've got the AR, and, well, it's not that great. Or at least paint-wise, like, just black and gray, and it has a hole in it. Like, they could have easily given you, like, a tampo number count right there for the ammo, any kind of other details. Hell, the Nerf gun has more details than this. Didn't even get a hole for the barrel. You know, with all of his hands, I don't know which ones are meant for what. So we'll have to figure that out as we go, but it looks like the main hands that are on the body are the ones for holding guns. So let's look at that. Well, actually, you know what? Before we get there, we'll look at the pistol, and then we'll look at that. So once again, big hole there. I'm thinking that the way that he holds, or the way it does, is the way I had the thing on the thigh worked out. It's just some green paint. Honestly, why wouldn't they use gunmetal instead of black? It's just kind of dumb, if I'm honest. But it's pretty good. I think this is the Magnum, or it's supposed to be. Or maybe it's the new gun that replaced the Magnum, or the regular old pistol. And then you've got the clip down here that doesn't come out or anything like that. Just a big old nub. Okay, so let's see if I can get him to hold these things. Okay, so just making the assumption that these are the weapon holding hands. Let me see if I can slide this in here without scraping it all to hell, which I don't think is possible. Okay, so that's in there. And I guess that would just give him good trigger discipline. But, yeah, he can hold the gun. Or at least he can hold that gun. So we can get the AR in his hand. Because, of course, this is a two-handed weapon. So we'll see. Yeah, hook the thumb. Spin it around. If anything, this is going to be the one that's hard to hold. And once again, the trigger finger is kind of purposeless there. So he can hold it, but it's awkward. And I'll figure out the extra hands here. Okay, so we have a left and right kind of just relaxed hand. You got a left and right fist. And then you have a left whatever's going on with this hand. And it looks like he's holding something, but I don't know what, because he only comes with the guns. So I mean, like, it's possible. I don't know. Maybe that's how he holds the rifle. Let's look. Like most figures like this, it's just the same kind of ribbed thing going on here. So here's the open hand. It's a little bit of wrist action there. So, I mean, that's fine. Doesn't really do anything, it's just sort of resting in it. That's okay. Let's see what the other one does. They do come out pretty easy. I don't mean like it's weak or anything, but you know, it's not a struggle like some other ones. Let's see here. I have no idea. Wow, it seems like I'm actually pushing it out of his holding hand over here. So that would be like this. That makes no sense. I have no idea. I don't know why he's got two fingers like that. I mean, if he was signaling or something, I could get that, but like, I'm not sure. Like, also the fingers are a little bit stubby for what they are. So let's give him back this hand. And by the way, I think the main hands that were on there are dry brushed and none of the other ones are. So that's kind of a waste. Let me see if I can get his trigger finger actually near the trigger. Be somewhat useful. And the fact that Chief himself would have so much dry brushing, but the weapons don't, is also kind of absurd. So let's just rest it in his hands. And we'll do that. So that's pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good. Now, unlike the old Master Chief that I had, where I think the guns had to peg into the hands, or at least to some degree they did, you do have the hole on the back, and you know, that should work. No, it's not meant for the pistol. I'm just showing it, so you can do that with the pistol. Go ahead and take this out of his hand, and the plug, I assume, won't fit that well, if I'm honest, because they almost never do. Also, I wish that was a bit less flexible than it is. But, you know, who cares what I want? Alright, let me see if I can get this back here again, because I honestly think this is what this is for. It's just stupid that they angle that the way they do, because then you don't get it to stay very well at all. But I think that is what that's for. It makes the most amount of sense to me. And then, except it falls right off. Let me give him back. I don't know why I actually dig this hand, because it's strangely expressive. I mean, it's a pretty good Chief. I mean, I think that they went overboard with the dry brushing because literally almost every square inch of him is dry brushed, but not 1 square centimeter is dry brushed on the weapons. So that seems like an afterthought by all means. This, I'm sure, is for what, you know, that's what this is actually meant to do, but they didn't engineer it to stay. So that's kind of really dumb, in my opinion. Like, that's just, I mean, magnets would have been fine. I know this is supposed to be like a budget line, but I would have definitely put a magnet there, made it worth it, because now you either got a he has to hold that at all times situation, or you have to glue that in place so that it will hold. And then this, as I'm currently experiencing it, would be the problem with the toes. There's 0 friction there. So that's something they needed to work on, and they didn't. But as I said before, you know, as it goes, it's a pretty good looking Chief, and I will be customizing it at some point in time. No idea when. I've got too many other projects going on right now, but he needs a couple extra paint apps in my opinion, and he definitely needs the weathering to be reined in, and the guns need weathering by all means. But like, see how he doesn't really hold the pistol like he should? To me, that's a problem. Like, you could even get him to where he's like, it's my secret pistol, you can't do that. And see, like, these hands have no dry brushing on them, so they stand out with the fact that they don't. And I think that is also a problematic thing. But if they give us other ones down the line, it'd be kind of cool. I do have another Master Chief figure that'll be coming to me eventually, and then we'll look at that. But also, in comparison, let's go ahead and bring out a Black Ranger. And mind you, the Spartans are huge. They're supposed to be huge. Something in like 7 foot tall range, maybe heavier. And then like even Vader is not quite as tall as Chief, and I think that is correct. So these are in the quote-unquote 6-inch range. And if they give us Covenant in this size, I will definitely be down for that. They have the Covenant in the 4-inch or 3 3/4 inch line, but I looked at one today and it was just a grunt, and it looked way too big compared to a standard size human in that size weight. I can't reach the Marty figures that are out of the way right now, so you just have to live with it. This is what it is. So once again, Jazzwares, interesting lineup. I thought it was a McFarlane job at first because the packaging looks so similar, plus it's video game thing. I think that if this is their first outing with Halo, they've got a long way to go. Like, the Halo fans are ravenous because there's not enough stuff. And there's been McFarlane, there's been I think Bandai. I don't think that was Hasbro. I don't remember what line that was. The one I looked at a long time ago and then customized and gave to Arthur. But it's pretty good. And I missed out on the Warthog that came with a little Master Chief, but I don't think I technically need that. But guys, let me know what you think down below, and of course come back later for when I do a paint upgrade to him. But until then, remember as always to keep on nerding. And don't ever give up the fight.